Have you ever wondered what happens when a tech giant, a name that literally defined an entire era, just disappears? Well, today, we're going to dig into the incredible story of BlackBerry.
It's kind of hard to imagine now, right? But before the iPhone came along and just changed everything, there was one undisputed king of the smartphone world, and that king was BlackBerry. Its reign was, it was absolute.
This thing wasn't just a tool, it was an obsession. People were totally addicted to it. Its cultural impact was just massive. They even gave it a nickname, the Crackberry. And get this, it was officially added to the dictionary back in 2006. If you had one, it was the ultimate sign that you were connected, that you were important. And look, the numbers here really tell the story. At its absolute peak, this was in 2009, BlackBerry, which was actually a company called Research in Motion, or RIM, had a jaw-dropping 56% of the entire US smartphone market. Think about that. They weren't just a player in the game, they were the game.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth does a company with that much power, that much loyalty, how does it all just crumble so quickly? Well, the answer is honestly a masterclass in what not to do in modern business.
All right, so to really get why BlackBerry was so huge, we've got to go back to the beginning, back to the one big idea that started this whole revolution. This right here, this was the secret sauce. Before BlackBerry, you actually had to log onto a computer and hit refresh to check your email. Can you imagine? Push email changed all that. It meant your messages just showed up, boom, right on your device instantly. This always-on thing was a total game-changer for any professional who had to stay in the loop. And the device itself, it evolved super fast. It started out in '99 as basically a glorified pager that could send emails. A few years later, by 2002, it's a full-on phone. And then in 2006, they dropped the BlackBerry Pearl, which had a camera and that little iconic trackball. That was the moment it started shifting from just a serious business gadget to something everyday people wanted too. So all of this set the stage for total, complete domination. BlackBerry wasn't just a product anymore, it was a cultural phenomenon. And just look at who was using it. We're talking Wall Street bankers, Hollywood A-listers, CEOs, you name it. It was the secure device for government agencies. President Obama famously fought to keep his when he got into the White House. Seriously, this was the ultimate symbol of power and influence. The growth was just insane. You see it here. They went from 8 million users in 2007 to a staggering 80 million at their peak. That's a tenfold increase in just 5 years. They were, without a doubt, on top of the world. And then 2007 happened. A new challenger stepped into the ring. And, well, the way BlackBerry's leaders reacted, or didn't react, is what would end up sealing their fate. You really couldn't have two more different approaches. On one side, you had BlackBerry, totally obsessed with its corporate customers. It was all about efficiency, security, and that clicky physical keyboard everybody loved. Then you have the iPhone, which was all about fun, the consumer experience, a giant touchscreen, a real web browser, and this brand new idea of an app store. And this is the crucial mistake. BlackBerry's leadership just laughed it off. This quote from their co-CEO Mike Lazardes says it all. How much presence does Apple have in business? It's vanishingly small. They just saw the iPhone as a toy for consumers, not a real threat. What they completely missed was that those same consumers were about to bring their toys to work and change everything. And that arrogance, it led straight to a cascade of terrible decisions and internal chaos that, honestly, the company just never recovered from. Inside the company, it was a mess. They had two CEOs who couldn't agree on a direction. They totally missed the boat on apps and entertainment. New phones were constantly delayed, and then there was their attempt at an iPad killer, the Playbook tablet, which was a complete and utter disaster. And the worst part, nobody seemed to be held accountable for any of it. And, well, this chart tells the whole brutal story. By 2016, not even 10 years after the iPhone showed up, BlackBerry's market share had plummeted to just 0.1%. They were gone, wiped out by the new kids on the block, Android and iOS. The end wasn't one big event. It was a slow, painful process. In 2016, they gave up on making their own phones. By 2020, the last phone with a BlackBerry logo rolled off the line. And then, the final nail in the coffin, January 4th, 2022. That's the day they officially shut down the old software, turning millions of those iconic devices into little more than paperweights.
So, what's the big takeaway from this incredible rise and fall? Well, the story of BlackBerry has become one of the most famous cautionary tales in the entire tech industry. It's basically a textbook case of something called the innovator's dilemma. See, BlackBerry got so good at giving their existing customers exactly what they wanted that they became completely blind to the new stuff, like touchscreens and app stores, that was about to change the entire game. They built the perfect product for a world that was literally vanishing before their eyes. And that really leaves us with one last kind of scary question, doesn't it? The BlackBerry story proves that no company, no matter how big and powerful it seems, is safe. So when you look at the tech giants dominating our world today, you have to ask yourself, which one of them could be the next BlackBerry? Which one is so successful right now that it's completely missing the thing that's going to take it down tomorrow?